and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about HYBE's original stories, focusing on a little introduction of what we know so far about the upcoming storylines of the label's groups. Now, in the latest corporate briefing, HYBE announced the creation of Original Stories, which is a project where new and original stories will be created to expand on the musical message of some groups under the label. Up to this point, this is a project that will involve BTS, Tomorrow by Together, ENHYPEN, and the upcoming girl group that will debut under the label, and the aim of this project is to transcend the boundaries of music and expand on its power through storytelling. Now, as it was explained in the briefing, these stories will be told in a wide variety of different formats and media. When it comes to music, for instance, each song and each album will be an important piece that will expand on the lore. The artists will become characters in a particular story, and in the songs they will tell this story as the characters that they're playing. This is something that I've already started doing ever since the label was still Big Hit Entertainment, but starting from 2022, this project will evolve in new and unexpected ways. As we already saw with BTS and Tomorrow by Together, for instance, these storylines will be told with music, but also with webtoons, web novels, animations, and games, and all of this media will be connected together to bring to life the new worlds that are being created. Now, according to the information that we have so far, there are 4 original stories that will be released starting from January 2022, 2 of which you might already know, and the other 2 being brand new additions to the label. We have the Star Seekers with Tomorrow by Together, Dark Moon with ENHYPEN, 7FATES CHAKHO with BTS, and Crimson Heart with the upcoming girl group. Starting from January, the storylines of BTS, Tomorrow by Together, and ENHYPEN will be released as a webtoon both on Naver and on Wattpad, and while we still don't know what the girl story will come out, it's fair to assume that Crimson Heart will begin as soon as they debut. According to the briefing, each group and their storyline will stand as their own individual entity, but the artists, the music, and the stories will also be collaborated in order to maximize on the value of each other's content. Up to this point, it is unclear if this collaboration will end up connecting the stories with each other, but whether this is the case or not, we still have quite a lot to look forward to. Now, the first story that was announced is the Star Seekers with Tomorrow by Together, and this is a storyline that the group has been developing ever since their debut. Up until now, the story was told in a limited capacity using their videos, the Doomsnight animation, as well as the Tale of the Magic Island pop-up book. Starting from January, however, the label will make the story much easier to understand by releasing webtoons and web novels at the same time. According to the briefing, this is a fantasy plot about growth whose goal is to give comfort to young people who are growing up worrying about their future in this age devoid of hope. In the story, Tomorrow by Together play the role of idols who live in a world where magic and reality coexist. When the boys discover the magic and awaken their powers, the story will focus on them gradually discovering all the secrets associated to this fantasy world and the creatures that live in it. When it comes to ENHYPEN, on the other hand, their collaboration is called Dark Moon with ENHYPEN, and this is a story that will be released as a series. Up to this point, we know that HYBE copyrighted Dark Moon the Blood Altar and Dark Moon the Grey City, and in the briefing it was revealed that the Blood Altar is gonna be the first story of the Dark Moon series. This is a story that is described as a mix between urban fantasy and teen romance, where the boys play the role of vampires who fight many battles as borderline transcendental beings. Much like it was anticipated in Drunken Dazed, in the Blood Altar we'll see the boys encounter with a mysterious girl with strong abilities and a secret to uncover. Another important aspect of the storyline, however, will also be ENHYPEN's conflicting relationship with the werewolves, and in Drunken Dazed we saw that these characters were played by K and EJ. These are 2 of the confirmed members of the upcoming boy group that will debut under the label, so when they eventually debut, this werewolf concept will possibly link the 2 storylines together. In the briefing, this relationship between vampires and werewolves is described both as a friendship and as a confrontation, so while we still don't know much about it, the story will show us this unfolding relationship as well as ENHYPEN's meeting with a mysterious heroine. Speaking of heroines, the next storyline that was announced is none other than Crimson Heart, and this is the original story connected to the upcoming girl group that will debut under the label. While we still don't know much about them, it seems that the group will be comprised of 6 members, and the Crimson Heart is gonna be a coming-of-age story set in the world of Refugia. This is a controlled city in the middle of the desert that is completely cut off from the magic of the unknown, a mystical land full of magic that has been overrun by the blue fireflies. As the girls' lives are being controlled by the seemingly perfect system of refugia, things change when one day they go to the library and discover a mysterious book and a red necklace. This discovery will set off an adventure that will lead them out of the controlled environment that they grew up in, so the story will follow their journey in a strange world as they look for the island of the blue fireflies. Last but not least, we have BTS, who are coming back with a brand new storyline called 7FATES CHAKHO. Now, CHAKHO is gonna be an urban fantasy set in the near future. This is the story of 7 boys connected by fate who grew up together and have to overcome many difficulties, and in the plot we will discover what their destiny holds for them and what they must be 7 in order to triumph. According to the briefing, this is a story largely inspired by Korean mythology, and more specifically by the CHAKHO Gapsa, the legendary army of the Joseon dynasty that was created to hunt tigers and bears. In Korean, the word tiger translates into bomb, so in the story, the boys play the role of bomb hunters called CHAKHO who have gathered together in order to fight this danger. Since this is a modern retelling set in a fantasy setting, however, the bomb of the original story actually become monsters who hunt humans with their magical abilities. In CHAKHO, each of the boys will have an individual story that will explore the tragic fate of 7 people who want to take revenge after losing their loved ones. In Jungkook's case, for instance, his character will have to face a difficult situation that will possibly give rise to an inner conflict. He has to capture a bomb while using the same powers of a bomb without him getting recognized as one of the monsters. In J-Hope's interview, on the other hand, he anticipated that he will play a ruthless character that has to survive in the den of the bomb. In the story, and the others will have to make difficult decisions that will lead them to many different adventures, and as Jimin anticipated, these adventures will also involve other creatures belonging to Korean mythology. In the briefing, for instance, Jimin specifically mentioned the yokai and the bulkasari. Now in the video, the yokai are translated as traditional Korean goblins, and this would make them creatures similar to the dokebi, which are goblin tricksters with magical abilities that can either help or trick humans depending on the situation. In Korean mythology, however, the yokai are also often compared to the guishin, and these are spirits of the dead that cannot cross over because they have unresolved issues keeping them on Earth. When it comes to the Bulgasari instead, this is a rare mythological monster who keeps growing and growing as it feeds on metal. Depending on which version of the tale the story will refer to, this is a monster that is either impossible to kill or that can only be killed by fire, and even if for now we don't know which one it will be, we do know where the story will be set. As Suga and Jin explained, the CHAKHO will be set in Shinshi, a corrupted and confused city of the future where people are hunted down by the bomb that invaded the land. In Korean mythology, however, Shinshi is actually the name of a semi-legendary city that refers to the creation of the first Korean nation. In the legend, Shinshi is a word that literally translates into City of the Gods or City of the Spirits, and this is a protected area where people could come together and exchange goods in the market of the gods or of the spirits. In the story, however, this protected area will become a corrupted metropolis overrun by the bomb, so it's gonna be up to the CHAKHO to defend themselves and the people. Now up to this point, it's unclear whether this new storyline will have anything to do with the Bangtan universe, but by the looks of it seems that CHAKHO might actually be a story set in a completely different world. If this is the case, then we have 2 different options ahead of us. It's possible that the 2 stories will continue at the same time, or that with the release of the 7 Fates, the BU will eventually come to an end. Whether it's one or the other, I will be here making videos for them and the other groups, but for now, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!